All right, here we are. This is something I've been working on for around a week and a half, 2 weeks roughly. I put a lot of time and effort into this. This is cognitive ascendance. Okay, so this is basically how to reprogram yourself, your mind, what you're like. This is basically what has changed my life and everybody else's life that I've, I guess, given this advice to. So this is going to be like 150 slides, basically just covering the fundamentals of psychology, your whys, human reasoning, etc. I'm just going to get right into it, and I hope you enjoy because this is going to be a roller coaster ride of just insane, insane value. So the goal of this video is to change your entire paradigm. Now, what is a quote paradigm, right? Your paradigm is how you see the entire world, from the things you think all the way from the way you think as well. So your thought processes and your decision making. Your paradigm consists of many pillars, and today we're going to deconstruct it and consider buying and reading Reality Transurfing, which is a fantastic book written by a Russian quantum physicist, and I think it's like 60, 70 bucks on Amazon. A little pricey for a book, but I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars after reading it. So I think that's a pretty good return. Paradigm change equals money. So first, let's prime your mind, okay? Going into this video, I want you to take out a notepad, preferably handwrite your notes down to retain most of the information. Me personally, if you guys want to open a Google Doc, you 100% can, but I guess, when I'm watching videos, I always take like a physical notepad out and a pen just so I can actually retain the information better, because when I'm writing it down, just from personal experience, I'm able to actually remember things. And go in with an open mind. Understand that making money is 80% mindset and 20% work. That's my whole philosophy. If you're new to the channel, a lot of mindset stuff here. I mean, obviously, I know there's a lot of technical stuff, and realistically, you could have the right mindset, but if you don't utilize any of it, you're not going to make money. So, resistance and pain. Okay, let me put this into perspective. So, this was me roughly 4 years ago, perhaps, and this was me maybe a month ago. You know what? The change was pain. The thing that got me from here, $0 in my bank, playing Rust, which is a video game, I don't know if you guys know, but playing Rust for 14, 15 hours on end, sometimes even 48 hours on end. I used to do all-nighters, and waking up and eating candy for breakfast, all the way to here, which obviously in my personal opinion is a pretty good spot, being able to, I guess, have a multi six-figure e-commerce store, a multi six-figure info product business, and, just dropping out of high school at 17, being able to do all my business full-time, etc. The one thing that has changed was pain. And the vehicle and the bridge between these two people, because they're completely different people, was pain, right? And this is the pain. So this was summer of 2023, probably one of the most painful areas of my life. I was depressed. I wasn't, slewer. I don't know if I want to say the word on YouTube. I'm not slewercidal, right? But I was pretty depressed. And that, I had to go through that, right? At the time, it was bad. And at the time, at the time, I was like, this is the worst thing in the world. But I look back on every bad thing that has ever happened to me, and I think it is the greatest thing that has ever happened to me, right? I'm sure you guys have heard this story before, but there was a little boy in a village, and his dad got him a horse for Christmas, and he was like, everyone's like, oh my God, that's amazing. And then the little boy falls off the horse, and he breaks his legs, and everyone's like, oh no, that's terrible. And then the army comes by the next day, and they try to draft the kid, but, they can't because his legs are broken. Everyone's like, oh my God, that's amazing. And you see what I'm saying? So it's all relative to the timeline in the way that we look at things, right? So you can't tell if something's good or bad ever, right? Another analogy is like, a guy's driving and he gets in a car crash, right? That's the worst thing ever. And he has a concussion. They do a brain scan on him and they find a tumor in his head, right? Oh my God, that's the worst thing ever. He got in a car crash and he has brain cancer. But then the doctor's like, hey, you know what? We caught it prematurely, so it's not too far. Once you weren't experiencing any symptoms, once people experience symptoms, that's too far and they're going to die. So this car crash effectively saved your life. So there's two examples of basically understanding that nothing is actually good or bad. It is all relative into the timeline which you think, right? So I could look at, me here and I'm like, oh, this is the worst thing ever, but this was the best thing ever because I'm where I am now. And I could go through and I'm going, obviously life isn't always easy, so I'm probably going to experience some stuff, I don't know, soon. I can't really say, it's up to God, but I'm going to experience some things, and that's obviously going to further me. But pain is progress, and that's why I kind of did this little arrow with pain. But pain is progress, I'm telling you. That's how you need to look at pain. So in order to make progress, you need to optimize your life for pain. Okay, pain is anything you don't want to do. For example, cold showers, running, work, waking up early, anything, right? So the things you don't want to do in life are the things that are going to make you progress the most. My entire day is full of shit that I don't want to do, and that's why I progress at an abnormal rate. 99% of people, they live in comfort per se, right? So they wake up when they want to. They basically their entire life is just based around a sense of comfort. It's based around, I guess, it's based around things that they want to do, right? And chances are watching Netflix and this and that, it's just not, you're not getting to where you want to be, right? A lot of people, they have, quote, business aspirations, or they have high hopes in life, and they don't, and then they go play video games, right? And I say this a lot. You can't expect to do what everybody else does and not expect to get what everyone else has got. The average person is broke, fat, obese. They don't have much friends, and they're depressed, right? So you can't expect to do normal things and not get normal results, okay? The path of an exceptional person is the one of somebody who is an exception, okay? Pain can also be emotional. In this picture, I just got done from a hike I did alone. At the time, I had lost purpose and complete drive in life. I didn't know what to do, so I just sat down at the end of the hike. I looked at the skyline and the sunset, and I pretty much just started crying, right? I decided to take this picture because I knew I would look back in the future and be proud, but this was progress, right? Obviously, at the time, I was like, holy shit, I lost my drive. I don't know what I'm supposed to do in life. I can't think straight. Everything is just messed up. And at the end of the day, me recording this video right now, I am proud that I went through that, and I would not change a thing. I would not change an absolute thing because I'm so unbelievably proud of where I am now. One day you're going to look at everything and you're going, one day you're going to look at everything you're going through and you're going to be glad it all happened. Absolutely everything. Don't believe things happen to you. Start believing that things happen for you. So this is the beginning, this is the start of your whole paradigm shift, right? The way you look at life and the way you take things, your thought processes, right? So if your girlfriend cheats on you, great, right? Now you have more time to do work on your business or whatever, right? That happened for you, because if she was the one, then she wouldn't have cheated on you, right? If your friends snake you, then okay. Oh my God, she cheated on me. Oh my God, my friend snaked me. It's the worst thing in the world. No, you have to start thinking that things happen for you. Okay, I want you to happen to life. Don't let life happen to you. Okay, a lot of people, they sit around and they think that, they're just waiting for things to happen to them. Okay, a ball cannot roll if you do not push it. Okay, in order to get some kind of output, you have to insert some kind of input. Okay, so you need to start happening to life. Your girlfriend cheated on you. It sucks, but she wasn't the one then. If she was the one, she wouldn't have cheated. Like I just said, there's a very simple analogy, but it wasn't you to switch your paradigm shift in the way you think about things, okay? So resistance is very similar. Resistance is any pushback that you experience when it comes down to doing a, quote, thing, and a thing that will make your progress, right? A thing that will make you progress. So basically, anything is like the work, your pain, things you don't want to do. When I wake up in bed, I'll have days where I don't want to get up. I had that this morning. But you know what? I'll have days where I don't want to do the steam room or work out. It's called resistance. But you know what I did? I overcame it. I woke up this morning in bed and I was like, you know what? I have enough money. I have enough, I'm happy. I'm healthy. I can just take a day off today. But I was like, you know what? No. Because I know that if I do that and I have that mindset, then I'm going to be anxious about today. And I'm going to be like, oh, I haven't done enough work. And it's going to come back and bite me in the ass. It's that little voice, like on the devil on your shoulder, saying that you don't have to. You don't have to. You don't have to do this, right? You don't have to get running shoes to run, but it definitely helps. Most people often think about the, quote, thing they need to do too much, right? If I were to put a phone in front of you and ask you to record a video, you probably would, right? A minute video. All you would have to do is just hit record and talk to the camera. But if I asked you to record a 20-minute long YouTube video with editing and you're talking about XYZ on the other hand, you probably wouldn't. So this comes down to people overthinking their task, right? The steam room is such a simple and easy task with a major return on investment. The 30 minutes I spend in the steam room is going to improve my health and cognitive ability tenfold. So why do I skip it sometimes? Because I think about it too much. All it literally is, all I have to do is just sit down and breathe. It's not that hard, but it's resistance. It's because I think that I don't have to, okay? So a lot of you guys, when it comes to doing your tasks, you often think that, oh, I have to do this, this, and this, and this. Running, right? You're gonna overthink the run. You're gonna be like, oh, you're gonna imagine yourself tired and sweaty and running. No, imagine if you were to just get up and just started running. And then you could think about it when you're already running, but you're already running, so you can't really go back, right? So you overthink your task too much, right? You often overthink yourself from doing things. In order to make the most progress, just do now and think later. It's execution and taking action, right? If I were to tell you, okay, here, all you have to do is hit Control C, Control V, and enter 50, like let's say 4,000 times in the span of 4 days. You're gonna be like, that's pretty easy. How much? Like, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna pay you $4,000. You're like, oh shit, that's really easy, right? But if I were to tell you that you had to send 4,000 cold outreach emails and DMs, you're going to be like, oh, fuck, that's a lot of work. It's the same thing. You're just copy and pasting, but you're overcomplicating the task. You have to break it down to its simple, just its beliefs, right? Or not its beliefs, but it's the simple principle of it. It's just copy and pasting a message, right? So the steam room is so simple and easy with a major ROI. Why do I skip it sometimes? Because I'm going to be real, I'm not perfect, but why do I skip it sometimes? Because I think too much, right? All I have to do is just sit down and breathe. It's not that hard, but that's also how you build confidence, right? You are producing the resistance. It is merely a projection. Right? I'll say it again. You are producing the resistance. It is merely a projection. Start seeing activities for what they are and not for who you are. Write that down I told you to take notes. Start seeing activities or tasks for what they are, not for who you are. Oh, you have to go run, or oh, you have to go cold call. Okay, all you're doing is just sitting down and that's it. It's not physically demanding, right? Oh, well, I'm not that good at it. No, you're trying to attach the task to your individuality and your personality, your characteristics and your skill set. Stop doing that. It's just a task. Go and do the task, okay? The goal creates resistance, and the resistance creates the work. So let's learn about how to actually set goals, okay? Because a lot of people don't set goals properly. Goals are great, and they're great to have, but many people fail to set and achieve them properly, right? So let's figure out how to make some goals, right? How to make them goals. So people often shoot for the craziest goals ever, and when it comes to what they want to achieve, and they often shoot for the crazy goals in this amount of time, right? That's amazing. But that's not really the right way to go about it, right? So let's start off simple. Quote, here's your goal. For example, hypothetically, you want to make $1 million, right? That's a fantastic goal, right? Goal of mine. I want to make $1 million in a month. I want to start making $1 million in a year. 100K a month is a goal for the end of 2024 for me, right? That's a fantastic goal. But if it falls apart when you say, I want to make $1 million this year. And here's my thing. By December, actually no, by January 1st of 2025, I know I will be making $100,000 a month. Even if I put in minimal work, just to the systems I have in place and what I've been doing, it is almost statistically impossible. So I do have to work, and I do have to work hard, but it's not unrealistic, right? But let's say you go from, you're 2 months into the month, and you're making $1,000, $5,000 a month. You say you want to make $1 million. This year is where it falls apart. I'm all for shooting for the stars. And a lot of people think that, oh, you need to shoot big and have great goals. You do, right? But you need to draw the line between optimistic and unrealistic. Don't set a deadline for a crazy goal like that. And I'm going to give you guys an example. In World War II, prisoners of war had no idea when or even if the war was going to end, right? They had absolutely no outside information. Most of them were optimistic on getting out, but I'll tell you why that led to their demise. So here's John and here's William, both World War II prisoners, both prisoners of war in World War II, and they're in labor camps, right? So they're the same age, the same height, the same weight, etc. They're pretty much clones of themselves, and they were captured at the same time as well. The one difference is how they set goals. So John thinks he's going to be released in 3 months, and his goal is optimistic, very optimistic, and his hopes are high, higher than William. So this guy's, he's enjoying every single meal, and he's enjoying every single day, and he's like, no, it's fine, because I'm going to get out in 3 months. But William doesn't know when they're going to be released, but he truly does think they will be. He knows that realistically, this war is not going to last for 50 years, right? So he's like, you know what? I don't know when, and I'm going to go about every single day with a grain of salt. But he doesn't know when. It's not a matter of if. William just goes day by day waiting, and he's doing his labor, right? So 3 months pass, and John is still a prisoner. Conditions are getting worse, and he dies a week later. The issue is because John set a deadline for his goal. There were many, many, many third-party controlling factors, so when it hit the deadline, his entire body shut down, and he died, right? Same with sitting on an island. A lot of people, they have hope, and hope is pretty much if you're lost in the wilderness or on an island, like, oh, I'm gonna get out in 100 days. 100 days comes, what are you gonna do? You lose all of your hope, and that you pretty much die. So humans suck with time. Realistically, if you didn't make $600,000 to $700,000 last year, you probably won't make $1 million this year, unless you're in fucking crypto, right? So it's just not realistic. Humans have always sucked with time. All right, so here's how to set goals the right way. Here's your goal, $10,000 a month, right? Reverse engineer that goal to see what it looks like on a day-to-day and week-to-week basis. Okay, avoid setting a deadline. I always used to tell myself, and I had an old YouTube video that was Dear Me in 5 years. And I was like, yeah, I'm doing this, here's where I'm going to be in 5 years. And I don't even care, like, when. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. So I knew, and I didn't even consciously know this, but the fact is that I was doing this, and I was practicing what I'm telling you guys now, but I wasn't even conscious about it. So I was like, yeah, it's not even a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So basically avoid setting a deadline. So your goal is 10K a month. Your monthly basis is 4 clients closed, right? That's what you need to hit. That's your standard, is monthly basis 4 clients closed, which is 100% possible, right? Weekly basis, that's 1 client a week. Daily basis, X cold calls, X DMs, X emails, right? That's really simple. That's all you have to do. If you send out, if you do 200 cold calls a day, every single week for a month, dude, you're gonna get a client. You without fail, you're gonna get a client. You just need to obsess over this goal, whatever it may be. If it doesn't cater to this goal, you need to cut it out. Whether that be people, habits, an environment, anything. Okay. I often set monthly goals for myself. Easy monthly goals, something I know I'm going to hit regardless. Like if I have a goal for this month, I automatically know, okay, I'm gonna write this down. I want to do this and this and this. I want to hit this amount of followers, this amount of members, whatever, and then there we go, right? This allows me to get small positive wins throughout the month, get real achievement dopamine, and hardwire my brain to want more. So let me go back. So I basically set, specific goals, and I'll have like a goal for this month, which is like, okay, I want to have this amount of followers, this amount of members, and I want to hit, this benchmark or this milestone in one of my businesses, whatever, right? I know I'm going to hit it. Statistically, I'm going to hit it. If I just put in the work and I do every single thing I need to do day after day after day after day, then I'm going to hit it without a doubt, right? So it's not something out of the water, and it's not something I'm going to pull my hair out over if I don't hit. It's like, okay, if I hit it, then at least I'm going to hit it 3 days after the month's over. So it's like I'll set these easy goals for myself, and I'm giving myself that positive reassurance, or that positive, I guess, affirmative, whatever, you get what I'm talking about? Like I'm reaffirming, like, yeah, that's good, keep going, So let's talk about beliefs, right? What are beliefs? Beliefs, more specifically, belief systems, right? Belief systems are your fundamentals as a human being. And this is the one thing that's stopping you from being rich, having friends, having the girlfriend you want, the house you want, etc. So here's your brain, and here's your belief systems, for example. These little circles going around your brain are your belief systems, and here's what plays in your belief systems. Tangible evidence, pain, inputs, experience, biases, thought processes, beliefs, and decision making. So these are all inputs on what makes your belief systems your belief systems. So your entire paradigm has been formed from your experience as a human being, right? You look at the way the world is because you've lived your life and seen it for yourself. For example, if I were to call up a guy who's like, let's say this guy lived in Antarctica his whole life, And this is just a major hypothetical, and this is an analogy for you to understand what I'm saying. So if I called up a guy in Antarctica and he's lived there his entire life, and I've lived in the Sahara Desert, right? And I didn't have any parents. I just grew up and nobody told me anything about the outside world. I'm gonna be like, yo, the world is a desert. The entire world, it's hot. The world is a desert, and the sky is blue because I've lived my entire, like, let's say the guy in Antarctica, for him, the sky is white because it's always snowy. And then for me, the sky is blue. I'm going to look up. I'm like, okay, the sky is blue. I see the sky is blue. Therefore, the sky is blue. He's going to do the same thing, but the sky is white because of all the clouds. But he doesn't know if the sky is actually blue. So we're coming from two different personal experiences, right? You look at the way your world is. You look at the way the world is because you've lived a certain life. Because you've lived a certain life. Every single human looks at the world differently because they've lived different lives. They've talked to different people. They've gone through different pain. They've experienced things differently. From absolutely everything, right? Your entire life could be a lie. Every human has lived different lives, so they see the world in a different way. Your belief systems are the one thing that's stopping you from achieving whatever your heart desires. Your paradigm is formed from your inputs. What are inputs? Inputs are everything like music, things you've seen, news, personal experience, videos, and things you've been told, right? So let's break it down using a principle called first principle reasoning, okay? First principle reasoning is a problem-solving approach that involves breaking down complex issues into their most basic and fundamental elements. By understanding these fundamental principles, one can reconstruct knowledge and solutions from the ground up, often leading to innovative and effective outcomes. So for example, why? It's basically asking yourself, why? Why this? Why this? Okay, why that? Why that? Why that? Why that? Why that? And eventually you're going to come to a first principle, a fundamental, the root of the why, and then you can solve the problem through there. So say you believe something, right? Oh, it's hard to make money. These are what we call limiting beliefs. So why do you believe that, right? Why? Maybe because you grew up poor. So you've never been in an environment where money was abundant, right? You can have a reason, but really break it down and dissect if what you actually believe is logical, right? So obviously if you grew up poor and you didn't have any rich friends, you're going to think that money is scarce and money's hard to come by. But if you grew up with a billionaire dad, you're going to believe the complete opposite, right? But are those both logical beliefs for the situation? Yeah. But are you going to sit there and be like, oh, money's hard to, like, what? It's not logical. It's really not logical to think that, right? Women, so like, let's say, for example, your belief is like women are only attracted to men with six packs, right? Due to the fact that you have a fundamental belief, unless you have a six pack, you won't get a good woman, right? So someone else could have a different experience though. Going back to the money belief, someone could have money and be the most abundant resource in their life. So you know damn well they have different beliefs about it, right? So for example, oh, women are only attracted to guys with six packs. Realistically, since you have that fundamental belief, you're not going to get a woman. Your brain is going to stop you. And that's just the name of the universe won't let you. Your beliefs cannot conflict with your actions. So until you either A, get a six pack, or B, eliminate that limiting belief, then you won't get a woman. Does that make sense? Your actions cannot conflict with your beliefs. If you want to change your reality, you have to change your actions. And if you want to change your actions, you have to change your beliefs. Okay? Why settle or be comfortable with having beliefs that don't benefit your life? Why are you going to go about your life adopting or clinging on to a negative identity or negative beliefs about yourself? Oh, I'm this, I'm that, I'm that. What return does that have? Right? I've included a Google Doc template below for you to break down every limiting belief you have. Right? So if you guys want to go in the description of this video, you can basically just check out the Google Doc. And once you're done, of course, you can check out the Google Doc, and it's basically, okay, here's my limiting beliefs. Why do I think them? And then it's basically for you to get over them, because if you just actually sat down and questioned yourself, why do I think that about myself? Why? You're going to realize that it's pretty fucking stupid, right? Psychological suicide, okay? Break down on a Google Doc how much it would cost to live your dream life. This is just a figure you'd be proud of, okay? You wrote down your X, or I'm just going to say X, and that's whatever figure you wrote down, okay? You can pause the video if you haven't wrote it down yet. So now you aren't making X right now, but that's for a very good reason. You aren't that kind of person yet, right? So I would be making $1 million a month if I was a $1 million a month person, but I'm not, right? You need to reverse engineer X and the version of yourself that's making X, right? So what does this version of you do? How many hours does it sleep? How many hours does it work? What's its morning routine? What music does it listen to, etc.? Okay? You need to become that person. You have this character. Now you need to go and become it, right? Really think if you broke it down to a day-to-day routine, you actually did it every single day, you would reach it without a shadow of a doubt. No problem. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. If you broke it down into a day-to-day routine, you just did that every single day, every single day, every single day, and using the goal method that we did earlier, and you didn't have a timeline on when you were going to achieve it, it's fairly simple. 1 + 1 is 2, right? Kill your old self. You need a complete 3 to 4 month rebirth period. Don't do monk mode. Stay social, right? So, for example, monk mode killed my social skills, and it made me depressed. Like the first picture I showed you guys of the middle with me crying after the hike, that was when I was on monk mode. It was a terrible time in my life. It was lonely and it was depressing, and that's because I failed to remain social. I didn't talk to people at the gym. Only thing that I said hi to my gym receptionist, and that was it. And maybe talking to an Uber driver. That's it. One or two times. That was all it is. And it was self-sabotage, right? So if I knew now what I knew back then I would be able to, boom, snap out of it. It's fairly simple, right? I'll give you a rundown of my entire rebirth period. And this tripled my income, by the way. So I woke up at sunrise, which was painful, right? I didn't want to do it. I did a cold shower, which I didn't want to do, which was pain. Pray and read the Bible. Straight into a 3-hour work block, pain. Go for a walk. Back in a 2-hour work block, pain. Walk again, clear my mind, right? Gym, which was pain. Record a video, pain. And then combat training, which was also pain, right? So imagine if you woke up on time, you did a cold shower, you stayed connected with God, you worked, then you went for a walk, then you did more work, then you walked again, then you hit the gym, you record a video, and then you did and this was catered to my goals, right? So I wanted to stay in shape. I wanted to be fit, obviously the combat, and I wanted to obviously know how to defend myself, the fundamentals, which is combat training in the gym. That was like my goals, obviously. And then I wanted to, and grow my YouTube presence, which is why I would record a video every single day, right? Boom, done. And then I would obviously work because I want to make money. So you need to cater it to your goals, right? Not everybody wants to make money online. So you don't have to do that, right? It's just weighing out what matters more to you. If you wanted to optimize your life for money, then you would do nothing but sit in your room and work on your laptop every single day. But at the end of the day, you'd be fat, sad, and lonely. But you'd be rich. You would be rich, right? So it just comes down to what you want out of your life and what you define as success. If you did that every single day, you would be proving to yourself every single day that you are that guy. I am that guy because I do what I say I do. It's simple. If you did, people are like, oh, I've struggled becoming confident. I'm telling you right now, right? You would be confident if you did this every single day. Most people aren't confident because what do they do every single day? They play video games and they eat junk food. Fairly simple. Monk mode has ruined lives. Monk mode ruined my life for a year. I was making money, but I was lonely and depressed. I was crying myself to sleep every single night. Let me explain. What do you want to optimize your life for? Like I just said, money, women, friends, health. You need a balance. If you wanted to optimize your life for money, then sure, you'd be rich, but you'd be sad, fat, and lonely. If you wanted to optimize your life for the gym, you would be jacked, but you'd probably start doing steroids, right? So evaluate your life. What do you want? What means the most to you? And monk mode prioritizes money and devalues every other facet of a fundamental, healthy, and quote, good life. So what do you define as success? What do you define as what would you be proud of, right? Because there's guys who optimize their life for money, but they don't have kids or they don't have a girlfriend. Like, hey, if that's their definition of success, and go do it. I don't care. Right? I'm not saying don't go monk mode, nightmare mode, lock in, whatever you want to call it, but there's a line, guys. There's a balance, okay? Humans are social creatures. Psychologically, we need human one-to-one interaction. Without that, I was making money, but I lost my social skills. What's the point of having money if you can't enjoy it with your friends? Like I would go spend $300 on a dinner by myself and then go home and cry myself to sleep. It was sad. That's not a fun life. That's depressing. What I'm trying to say is just weigh out the pros and the cons. It plays into critical thinking, right? Have a reason to do everything. I don't just do to do. For example, people go to college just to go to college, right? If you have a reason to go to college and acquire that debt, right? You have a reason to go. If you want to be a lawyer, you need a degree. So there's your reason to go. But people just go to go. People don't actually think if it's a logical decision or not, right? So literally weigh out the pros and the cons with everything that you're doing. Why do I wake up on time? I could wake up at fucking 4 a.m., but that means I'd have to go to sleep earlier. That does not fit into my schedule. I'm weighing the pros and the cons. Waking up at 7, obviously I'm going to take that hit of, oh, you're not a grinder. You don't lock in, man. You don't wake up at 4. Like, I don't care, right? Because I've broken it down. And is that stupid? Yes. Whatever works for me, works for me. Let me tell you a story about my old friend Adam. So I met this guy on Discord, and it was a drop shipping, this was an e-commerce Discord server, and this guy was 18 at the time, and he was a senior in high school. This guy made $40,000 profit after tax from his laptop. Senior year, $40,000. This guy's like a fresh 18-year-old. He makes 40 grand from his laptop. And you know what he does with that money? He puts it towards, he goes to college. He puts it towards college. And like I said, by any means, right? If you want to go to college to be a lawyer, a doctor, etc., you want to go down a career path that requires a degree, then do it. I would want my lawyer and my heart surgeon to be a college graduate by far. Okay? So the one problem is that 99% of people, they just do things to do. That's the one issue. This guy went to college due to the fact that he just thought he needed college. Most people don't actually need, like most people, it's issues with the parent, like it's just the belief systems passed down from their parents, right? Because at the end of the day, I want you guys to understand, like look at millennials as an example, right? So your great grandparents, it worked for them. They got a job, they went to college, they had kids, they bought a house, it worked, right? Your grandparents, it worked for them. Your parents, some people's parents it didn't even work for, but a lot of people's parents did. Now you look at Gen Z who followed their parents, or millennials who followed their parents, and look at them. They can't even afford a house. I want you guys to understand, the average college graduate from 1980 makes more money than they do now, and that's equated for inflation. I really want you guys to understand that. It's insane. So unless you're like, it's critical thinking at the end of the day, right? So important pillars. You need a rebirth period. 4 to 5 months, it could be 3 to 5 months of just full metamorphosis. Change who you are and become that character. Radical responsibility. You are a product of your own actions. In my personal opinion, I believe that every single human being is exactly where they deserve to be. If you're fat, there's a reason. If you're broke, you deserve it, right? Your environment is everything. Your environment is the content you consume, the people you hang with, and even your workspace. Cater everything to the evolved version of you. Everything in your environment is an input. Environment, right? Get rid of any minor distractions, right? This can be anything from random posters, figurines, books, etc. Your desk needs to be nothing but the essentials for your work. That's it. This is catering your life for success, okay? You need a pitch black room to optimize sleep, right? So this means cover any small lights with electrical tape, blackout curtains, etc. I've done it all. I personally have stripped my room of everything that isn't catered to my goals. No posters, I have empty shelves, nothing on my desk, etc. Self-programming. This is a weird looking robot. But look, the subconscious mind is a powerful part of our mental processes that operate below our conscious awareness. It influences our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors through automatic processes, right? Learned habits and emotional responses. Through automatic processes, learned habits, and emotional responses. While we are not actively aware of its workings, the subconscious mind stores memories, manages routines, and processes information quickly and efficiently. It plays a crucial role in shaping our perceptions and actions, often guiding us based on past experiences and ingrained patterns without us even realizing it. Understanding that the subconscious helps us appreciate the depth and complexity of human behavior and cognition, right? Your subconscious plays into pretty much everything that you do. I'm going to show you how to, quote, hack or, quote, program your subconscious to your advantage, right? Like we talked about earlier, you are the way you are because of your inputs, okay? Every thought and action you've ever had or taken has been the result of some kind of input, right? Nothing is original. You do the way you look at things, the way you talk, right? People who are born in Russia have American accents because they watched American TV. Like, I talked to a guy the other day who's from India, and he sounded like this guy was from Los Angeles because he used to watch American YouTubers, right? And that's the result of an input, right? These can be anything from the music you listen to all the way to the people you interact with. You need to program your life and in turn your subconscious and cater it to your goal. Only watch and read money/self-improvement books. If all of your inputs are money/self-improvement related, you'll make money. Simple. Even your parents can be bad inputs, but most people don't want to acknowledge that, right? There's a lot of generational limiting beliefs and just things that are pushed upon kids that at the end of the day, hey, great grandpa, what worked for you is not going to work for me because it's a different world, right? One of the biggest hacks I've made is making a custom 432 hertz audio where I give myself affirmations towards my goals. Now, if you're in DRM, you know about this because I've been talking about this for 5 months, right? This frequency resonates more naturally with the universe and the human body compared to the standard 440 hertz tuning. Proponents suggest that 432 hertz promotes relaxation and well-being, aligning more closely with the natural harmonics, right? So just look up 432 hertz meditation, right? And you can find a 10-minute, 15-minute video, drag it into GarageBand or BandLab, whatever you want to do, and just repeat your goals or where you want to be. So for example, mine, like first thing I say is today is going to be a great day. Today's going to be a happy day. Today's going to be a productive day, etc. Right? Every morning, as soon as I possibly can, I listen to this audio and I'm in a meditative state. So I'll wake up in bed. The first thing I do, boom, files, it's called self audio, boom, files, self audio, boom, put it on, listen to it as I'm kind of getting up for the day, right? This allows me to start off my day with thinking about nothing except my goals, because your brain and your subconscious are like a sponge. They're the most vulnerable an hour after you wake up and an hour before you go to bed. So you need to program those 2 most important hours to your subconscious, right? It works so well, I found, because your inner dialogue resonates with your own voice over any other. It's yourself speaking. That's why it's worked for me, is because it's literally myself talking to myself, right? It works so well because obviously I pretty much just said that. I forgot to delete that part. So clarity, right? Close your eyes. I'm serious, close them. Take a deep breath in through your nose, hold for 1 second, and then blow out through your mouth slowly like you're blowing out a candle, right? So do that 5 times and pause the video and unpause it when you're done. Okay, you're back. Congratulations. So let's find your purpose, right? Or your why, okay? If I give you $1 billion and you couldn't spend or invest the money, all it granted you was financial security for life, meaning that your bills were paid, your family was taken care of, etc. What would you do on a day-to-day basis? You can take a minute to think about it. But really, what would you do on a day-to-day basis, right? If you gave me $1 billion, I'd still be doing what I'm doing right now. If I had $1 billion in the bank, I'd still record this video for you guys. That's the purest form of authenticity and purpose. Understand, unless you're Gandhi, you're not going to be able to live in accordance to your purpose. Money is the vehicle that's going to get you in the position to live in accordance to your purpose. My purpose isn't to be an e-commerce dropshipper, right? But I use it as the vehicle to get me into a position where, as an individual, now I can go all in, right? Because if I didn't have financial freedom, I would be struggling and I wouldn't be able to do this or get people to pay attention to me and, have there's a bunch of psychological stuff that goes into it, right? So biases. A cognitive bias is a systematic pattern of deviation from normal or rationality and judgment, right? So this is biases are basically cognitive biases, okay? Individuals create their own, quote, subjective reality from their perception of the input. An individual's construction of reality, not the objective input, may dictate their behavior in the world, right? We talk a lot about this in DRM. We have a codex to follow and resources to use. We store memories differently based on how they were experienced. We store memories differently based on how they were experienced, and we reduce events and lists to their key elements. Humans have a tendency to think in particular ways that can lead to systematic deviations from making rational judgments, right? For example, these tendencies usually arise from information processing shortcuts, the limited processing ability of the brain, emotional and moral motivations, distortions in storing and retrieving memories, social influence, right? So it's like kind of when a good example of a cognitive bias is somebody who's actually psychotic. Regardless of what they do, they're going to justify their actions. They're going to get so technical and logical, they're going to justify their actions. Does that make sense? For example, familiarity bias. An investor puts her money in, quote, what she knows, rather than seeking the obvious benefits from portfolio diversification. Just because a certain type of industry or security is familiar to her, it doesn't mean it is the logical selection, right? Novelty bias. You choose a business model simply due to the fact that it's, quote, new, thinking that it is better. You fail to do any research and ignore the historical evidence. For example, the iPhone. They come out with a new iPhone every single year. It's not new. It's not better because it's new. New isn't better. Better is better, right? So the iPhone is the biggest example of novelty bias, okay? Selective perception bias, right? This bias is the tendency to see and interpret information in a way that confirms one's pre-existing beliefs. This bias can lead to ignoring or dismissing information that contradicts these beliefs. People will ignore third-party opinions or advice due to the fact that listening will cause them emotional discomfort or an admission to being, quote, wrong. Okay? Selective perception bias. People will they will choose to no, this is right, this is right, this is right. You're wrong because I cannot be wrong. If I am wrong, it's bad and it's going to cause me discomfort and they're going to explode. Like it's just people don't want to do that, right? People always want to be right, right? So get specific. Getting specific not only gives you proof of concept via visualizing, allows you to cater other aspects of your life to optimize your progress, right? So a lost ship, right? If you have a boat and you're in the ocean and you have a sail where there's no wind, you're just drifting around, like you're not going to move. So you need to blow some wind into them sails, if that makes sense. So going back to the cognitive bias stuff, really, I want you guys to understand that even watching this video, there's biases going on. And you make decisions because of biases. So it's basically, imagine if you were to just like extract yourself from a situation. Like imagine two people were arguing, right? Chances are, if you're the median and you're like the person watching, you're going to be the most logical person, right? But if you knew one of the people, then that'd be biased. Does that make sense? So of course you're going to agree with them. Humans are nothing but raw potential. Humans are nothing but raw potential. A goal is a snapshot into the future. There's a reason I had you make I had you all make your evolved self avatars, right? Without a goal, you're just walking around life with no direction. All success is deciding what you want and then working to get it. Make a Google Doc. Write down your dream life and your dream life's monthly expenses, right? So for example, Lambo, $2,700 a month with insurance. Penthouse, $10,000 a month. Gym, $200 a month. Food, $1,000 a month. Shopping, $3,000 a month. Gifts, $2,000 a month. Family, $10,000 a month. That's a roughly $30,000 per month that you need to live. Basically, that's your monthly expenses. But you need to be smart with your money too. So your total monthly recurring revenue to live your dream life is around $50,000, $60,000 a month, right? I went from hovering around $100 in my bank account for months on end. And then within 100 hours, I had over $8,000 in my bank account. That will be you. The results you get will be exponentially more extreme with time. So for example, this is what your progress is going to look like. This is the compound interest graph, right? Nothing, working, months. And this period right here is what we call the gray area. So this is where you're not successful enough to hang out with the people you want to hang out with, but you're basically still working on outgrowing your old friends. Right? So this is the gray area, and then all of a sudden, whoop, you're going to go crazy. And then obviously the higher you go, you make more money. Right? Same with the depth of understanding. Your income is dependent on your depth of understanding. The deeper you understand your customer, client, niche, etc., the more money you are going to make. That's what makes you an expert or not. So this is where most people quit right here. You see this little edge? Most people quit 4 or 5 months in, and then they go try something else. But if you guys just stuck to one thing for long enough, right, then you'd be rich. This is a year's time right here. This cap is a year. Most people stop here at like 4 or 5 months in, and then they quit. They start something else. So why do you want to be a jack of all trades but a master of none? Why do you want to put a couple eggs in one basket? Does that make sense? You don't want to know 20% on a bunch of business models. You want to be that guy. Oh, this is the expert on this, right? So your depth of understanding, your income is dependent on your depth of understanding, right? Get a sheet of paper or make a Google Doc at the top of the page and write the desired MRR that we talked about prior. Ask yourself why you want that dream figure, right? Write it under the goal. Ask yourself why you want the thing you wrote under the goal. For example, I want to make $50,000 a month. Why? I want more money. Why? Because I want a Lambo and nice watches. Why? I want to feel appreciated and validated by society. Why? My childhood lacked a healthy dynamic from my parents, so I'm going to seek what I miss as a child from a third-party source. Most people don't actually, here's my personal opinion, right? I actually, and I've broken this down personally, right? I've used first principle reasoning, which is what we're using here, and I've broken down what I want and why I want it, okay? I actually like cars, right? I like the architecture behind them. I'm interested in if Bugattis were free, I'd still be interested in them. Does that make sense? So it's like, most people, on the other hand, most people only want a Lamborghini or a nice, expensive car because of the validation that comes from society when they have it, because it indicates status. Does that make sense? If a Lamborghini was free, I would still look at it and think, wow, that's sick. That I like the way it looks. I like the way it sounds. I want it. So it's like, realistically, you don't break shit down to why you like nice watches. I'm super open about nice watches. I don't give a fuck about the movement inside them. I know a lot of people, they actually enjoy talking about, oh, this is an ETA movement and this is made by this guy and this, I don't give a shit. I don't care about nice watches. I have one, but it's I don't care. I'm super open. I bought it for validation from society. and I bought it because I get status from it, and people respect me more, right? I look at the way the world is, not how it should be. I play the game, right? To a certain extent. So it's like, I'm super open about that though, right? I don't give a shit what movement it is or what the chronograph does. I really don't. Like, if the watch was free, then I wouldn't have gotten it. Does that make sense? Like, I'm super open about that. I'm transparent. Your income is dependent on your depth of understanding. The deeper you understand your... Okay, we already talked about that. Oops. I just copied the slides. Repetitive negative thinking patterns can be single-handedly the most detrimental thing to a man. And it was for me. Nothing kills a man faster than his own mind. So I really fell into like the picture I showed you guys at the start, I really fell into a state of repetitive negative thinking patterns, right? And that was just constantly like affirming myself every single day in the shower. I would say, oh my God, I'm lonely. Because I would feel lonely. So I would say out loud, I'd whisper to myself, I'm so fucking lonely, or some shit like that. That has an effect on you, right? Rumination involves repetitive negative thinking or dwelling on negative feelings and distress, and therefore causes, guys. Rumination involves repetitive negative thinking or dwelling on negative feelings and distress and their causes and consequences. The repetitive negative aspect of rumination can contribute to the development of depression or anxiety and can worsen existing conditions. When a person who is in a depressed mood ruminates, they are more likely to, quote, remember more negative things that happened to them in the past. They interpret situations in their current lives more negatively, and they are more hopeless about the future, end quote. The preoccupation with problems also makes it difficult to move beyond to allow for a focus on problem solving, right? Even in people without depression or anxiety, rumination can contribute to negative emotions, right? This can become a cycle where people are where the more a person ruminates, the worse they feel, which then contributes to more rumination. Hence why, the name is called repetitive negative thinking patterns. It is cyclical. It is a cycle. And that's what I did. Those are my inputs, right? So I used to listen to sad music. I would say to myself all the time, oh, I'm sad. People, there's comfort in sadness. Humans, psychologically, it's fundamentally true that there's comfort in sadness. And that's where most people go. People fall into the trap. The depression trap, the anxiety trap, this trap, it doesn't fucking matter. But people fall into that trap, okay? Like, I want you guys to understand, there was no return to being sad. So we have two different versions of working hard. We have the lock in, where I'm like, I need to retire my family, and you're sad. You can work hard because you're sad, or you can work hard because you're excited and happy to work hard. I experience both sometimes, but the sad one doesn't gain, and there's no return to that. I don't make money from being sad. It's just the name of the game. So you have to be happy. You can choose. You can choose if you're happy or sad. I guarantee you, I'm telling you right now, you can choose the way you feel about anything. There is comfort in sadness or negativity. One of the most depressing periods of my life, like I said, was summer of 2023, around a year ago. I had gotten comfortable in my business and I hit a plateau. Everything was stagnant and I wasn't growing, but I wasn't declining either. I ended up falling into a trap of depression. I wasn't suicidal, I was just depressed, right? Pretty much every single day, I would just feel crippling loneliness, and I was just overall operating at the lowest possible frequency a human could. I wish at the time I knew what I knew now, because I could have just snapped out of it. Right? The constant sad music I listened to, the isolation I was experiencing because I wasn't social, right? That's what was causing my negative thinking, my depression, right? That was a depression cocktail. I slowly got out of it, but it was terrible. Repetitive negative thinking patterns is what I was experiencing, right? The human brain is fucking stupid, and it self-sabotages all the time. But once you gain that next level of consciousness and awareness of your like your fundamental psychologicals, fundamental psychological problems per se, or systems, right? But it's like, if I still get biases now, right? So if I have a bias or a limiting belief, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to be like, all right, is this logical? I'm conscious and I'm aware of the way that my brain works, right? You are not your brain, nor are you your body. You are the consciousness that resides in a tangible and physical configuration of flesh. Understand that. You are your consciousness. You aren't your brain. You aren't your body, right? Your brain controls your body, and your consciousness is this is something that we can get into. It's a whole other thing, right? Mental energy is tangible. It can't vanish without a trace. When a group of people begin to think in one direction, their, quote, thought waves superimpose over one another. And in the ocean of energy, they create an invisible but real energy. information structures, right? So pendulums, this is what we call pendulums. If you've read reality transurfing, you know what I'm talking about. Or if you're in DRM, you know what I'm talking about, right? They begin to develop by themselves and make people follow their laws. Once under the influence of a destructive pendulum, one loses his or her freedom, becoming a cog in the big mechanism. Same way that when there's a packed stadium for a football game, someone will start a wave. And it starts with one person standing up, then 2 people standing up, and then, 4 other guys trying, and then 10 people, and then 60 seconds, you have 20,000 people all in tune. It's fucking crazy. Like, I've done that. I've been the start of a wave or a chant. I don't know if you guys have, but it's like you look at the guy next to you, he starts, the person next to you, and then somebody else hears it, look across, and they get them around it, and all of a sudden, literally within 60 seconds, you have 20,000 people all in tune with the exact same energies. It's insane. So how to avoid getting caught in pendulums? So how do you avoid getting caught in pendulums, right? The key is to maintain your own individuality and avoid getting swept up in group dynamics, right? This means being aware of your own desires and emotions and not letting yourself be swayed by the beliefs of others. It's also important to be mindful of the pendulums that you create yourself, right? And avoid becoming too attached to them, okay? You don't know if things are good or bad. It's all relative to the timeline in which you look at things, right? So a good thing can happen or a bad thing can happen, and the pendulum is going to swing, and you can either choose to hop on and swing with it, or remain stoic and be the rock, right? You can't hate someone and understand them at the same time, right? So go into this one, right? There's a story about a little boy in a town, right? And I think I already talked about this earlier, but I'm going to refresh your mind on it. You don't know if things are good or bad. It's all relative in the timeline and the way you look at things, right? So there's a little boy in a town, his dad gifted him a horse, and everyone was like, oh, that's amazing. And then he fell off the horse and he broke his legs. And I was like, oh, that's terrible. Then the army came the next day and they were going to draft him, but they couldn't draft him because his legs were broken. And everyone's like, oh, that's amazing. So it's like, if you were to just cut those things into 3 different things, you had a good thing, a bad thing, a good thing, right? But if you were to look at all three of them as a collective, you'd be like, that ended out being a good thing. It started off as a good thing, but then it turned into a bad thing. So you don't know if things are good or bad. Okay, it's all relative in the timeline which way you look at things, right? You can't hate someone and understand them at the same time. Now, this is actually my quote. This next one, this is my quote that I literally use. I go on walks every single day, and I jot stuff down in my notes, and this was one of my favorite ones that I've gotten, like literally yesterday. Most anger comes from ignorance. Animosity is manifested from lack of understanding. Okay? This is something I've realized fairly recently. Chances are, if you hate/dislike someone, you don't know them enough to hate them. Because if you were to put yourself in their shoes, in their position, chances are, given the circumstances, you would be the exact same as them, right? So, for example, if somebody is bullying somebody at school, they probably have fundamental at-home issues, right, with their parents, and something's definitely going on. They're not just like that, right? So realistically, if you were in their position, you'd probably bully people too, right? So that comes down to the quote, most anger comes from ignorance. Animosity is manifested from the lack of understanding, right? So for example, there's a quote, I don't know who it's from, but it's a quote, it's like, if you hate me, text me. Or if you have a problem with me, text me. And if you don't know my number, then you don't know me well enough to have a problem with me, right? That kind of plays into this. Put yourself in their shoes, in their position, right? It's a lot of people hate people or think this or think that. I'm like, you would be the exact, they are the way they are, and they didn't have any control of it, right? They are the way they are because of the way they lived. That's the name of the game, right? So when you're going through the bullshit, it's a lot longer than you expect it to be. Everyone wants that credit. Everyone wants the credit for the Rocky cutscene, but it's a lot longer than 30 seconds, right? Everyone wants to be like, oh yeah, I've gone through this, I've gone through that, I'm super strong. I'm like, people will say, oh Smith, dude, I want to be like you someday. Or Smith, I wish I could trade lives with you. I wish I was you. I'm like, no, you don't. No, you don't. You see my Instagram, at Real Smith Reese, by the way, I had to quick plug. But everyone, you see my Instagram, and you're like, oh wow, that's amazing. That's this, that's that. I'm like, you see the end result. You don't see everything else that I've been through. You see one picture, and you take my reality now for face value, but fail to take into account the 2.5 years of pain and progress and resistance and going through everything that there's also issues that go with having the money, right? People have tried to people have tried to extort me or exploit me, whatever you want to call it. I've had one girl reach out to another girl who I used to talk to, and obviously one girl, thank God, she's a respectful woman, but she basically sent me a voice memo and screenshots, but this girl was trying to get her to team up on me and tell a bunch of people that I did things I didn't do. And the girl, oh thank God, this girl was obviously respectful, and that's, this is why I tell, hey, if you're a man watching this video, you have to fucking respect women, because these two girls could have ruined my life. Thank God that one didn't, right? One was respectful. She sent me the voice memos. She sent me the screenshots. So, God forbid if anything, nothing's happened yet, but God forbid if anything happened, I have receipts and, proof that whatever she says is BS, right? But thank God, I'm telling you guys right now, you guys want to fucking live my life, but you don't want the problems. You think my life is easy peasy. It's not, okay? Your dream life is a couple hard decisions or conversations away. All it takes is one hard decision to change your life, and all it takes is one hard conversation to recoup a relationship, okay? The one thing I can contribute to my success is that I was constantly taking action. I was constantly executing. Everything I do is catered to my dream life, okay? Sure, I have a cool life now, but 4 years from now, even a year from now, I'm going to have a way better life. Quality of living, even material-wise. Materialistically, it's going to be even better, right? So everything I do is just executing action, constant, just this, boom, boom, boom. I'm like a bullet, flying, ripping through the fucking air, right? I used to have a stigma around investing in self-education. I'd bought 2 books and I called it at that. And a lot of people think that they're better. They're like, I don't need a course. I don't need a fucking program. I don't need to buy a mentor. I'm smart enough myself, right? Please do not be ignorant when it comes to learning new things. You don't know everything. If you did, you'd be rich. Okay? It's fairly simple as that. So stop thinking like a brokey. You see someone with a car you want, you can either admire them or despise them. Which attitude do you think has more return? It's fairly simple. Now, I would highly suggest you invest in mentors, programs, and other forms of self-education in general. Alex Hormozy, he was able to go from broke to rich to rich. He was able to go from broke to rich to broke to rich and back to broke and back to rich again because he sharpened his axe. This guy literally learned so much, right? So if you made it this far into the video, I can tell you're in the right space. I see a lot of people who push BS programs and courses, right? When have you actually seen results from Iman Gadzhi's course or Hamza's course? You haven't. These guys don't post results ever because they don't get them, right? They only make money because of the volume game. They have 1 million subscribers, so then naive people sign up, and that's how they make their money. But nobody actually makes money, so I hate to be that guy, right? But if you want to check out my school community below, you can click the link and watch the video at the top covering everything inside and some results we've gotten. These are good results too, right? I don't know what job means, right? But I just want, if you guys don't want to, I have a $1 school community in the description as well. You can join if you want. But I hate to be that guy, right? But I've spent upwards of $25,000 on programs, courses, mentorships, right? And these were expensive, but I've made the money back. And obviously it's going to be biased, right? It's biased because I'm giving you the advice. Look, guys, it doesn't have to be my stuff, right? If you want to work one-on-one, you can book a call down below. That's a mentorship. And people make a fuck ton of money. I took a guy from homeless to $16,000 a month in $10,000 a month in 16 days, right? So at the end of the day, right, it's there. This guy put his money in me, he bet on me, and I got him a return. But it doesn't have to be me. I'm not saying this because I want to, this is genuine, actual advice. It doesn't have to be my stuff. If you guys happen to resonate with what I say, the way I articulate myself and my worldviews and the results I get, then you can, right? It's freedom of choice, free will. You can do whatever you want. If you want to, you can, but it doesn't have to be me. So if you find somebody else out there who you really resonate with what they say, the worldviews, etc., then invest in them, bet on them. And if they have past results, then chances are they're probably going to get them with you. So I hope you were able to find some value from this video. I hope you were able to actually learn something new, because a lot of people, I see a lot of people don't talk about this. It comes down to my whole, philosophy that making money is 80% mindset and 20% work, okay? I want you guys to understand that mindset is the highest leverage thing you can conquer when it comes to your business, right? This is literally the tip of the iceberg for what I talk about in DRM, right? Which is the school. Obviously, oh no, he's selling. But this is literally the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more that comes into play. And I want you guys to understand that once you are able to conquer your mindset and your frame and your paradigm and the way you think about things, you're going to be able to look at the world through a completely different frame. It's your life will change. So I just want you guys to understand, really take the time to change the way you think, not only how you think about things, but the way you think about things. Okay? I can't tell you enough. I've done the Gary V, oh, I'm a workhorse, I just do this, I do this. I've done that, and I'm telling you right now, you can put as much hours as you want, but it only matters if you're doing the right thing. A lot of you guys are rowing on the wrong boat. Does that make sense? So I want you guys to understand, you know, rewatch this video if you haven't. Obviously, if you want to retain the information, write down the notes. I would highly suggest coming back to this video in maybe 3-4 days and then another week after that just to actually retain everything I've said, because chances are you miss a lot of stuff. But yes, thank you for watching, and leave a subscribe and a like. I don't know. But yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good day.